Often, necessity makes migrants out of farmers and farm workers, but sometimes a catastrophe does. And by far, the worst ever to hit the Heartland was the Dirty 30s, the so-called Oklahoma Dust Bowl that ruined farms and farmers from North Dakota to Texas. Much has been written about those years, about the so-called Okies moving on to safer climates such as California's. But many stayed on the land while dust and drought buried everything they knew. Many are still there, though, still telling their stories, and I met up with some of them in the Oklahoma Panhandle, the epicenter of the Dust Bowl.
Yes, that all hit in a very short time. The drought hit, depression hit, and the dust storms all hit all about the same time. So many people left, we stayed with it, and it's worked out all right.
92-year-old Orville Clemens still farms near the land where he grew up in Guyman, Oklahoma, and he remembers well the difficult days of the Oklahoma Dust Bowl.
Them clouds would start showing up in the horizon in the north. You just see a little bit of cloud, looked like a cloud, and in an hour and a half's time, everything was blacked out.
The severe drought and dust storms of the 1930s weren't limited just to Oklahoma. Neighboring states of Kansas, Colorado, New Mexico, and Texas were also affected. But we know the situation mostly from John Steinbeck's novel, The Grapes of Wrath, about beleaguered small farmers escaping the Oklahoma Dust Bowl.
When the land began to blow, nobody was there to even try to stop it. At the beginning of the Dust Bowl, there were approximately 26,000 people in Beaver County. At the end of the Dust Bowl, there were 6,000.
And those left behind agree that there was one overriding reason that kept many families from packing up and moving away.
Well, one thing would make us stay was finance, to have money to get away.
Too poor to leave. I don't really know how they held it together.
Historians say that the accepted farming techniques of the time exposed Oklahoma soil to the ravages of nature, a situation aggravated by 7 long years of drought.
In 1902 and 1903, we began a big influx of people from the Midwest, people who came out here and, of course, didn't know about farming practices like we do today. And they plowed up all this land out here that probably should never have been plowed, so that by the time the drought hit in 1931, all that land was open. And we always have lots of wind here. All that land began to blow.
Imogene Glover's memories of those hard and dusty days are captured in the images on the canvases that she's created.
They needed to know what we lived through. And I couldn't tell them except to paint it. I'd run from the chicken house to the house when those dust storms first started, and oh, it would burn and sting my legs. We ran to the cellar, just hand-dug dirt hole with boards laid across it and dirt piled on top of that so the boards wouldn't blow away. I'd sit in the corner and read funny books or Big Little books while the storm was the worst.
The dust storms not only wreaked havoc on the land, the quantity and powder-like quality of the dust also created serious health issues.
2 or 3 of our neighbors died with dust pneumonia. And what they do, a lot of people did, would wet sheets and put over the windows and things, you know, the damp sheet would catch some dust.
Well, my brother had dust pneumonia. They thought he was going to die, but he lived.
Killed a lot of...
Oh, a lot of young people and older people.
The dust took its toll on livestock as well.
During the 34 and 35 in the late spring, the cattle were dying from dust clogging up their noses.
The Dust Bowl meant desperate times for farmers who lost homes and loved ones. But many who left Oklahoma did find new opportunities in California and the Northwest. And for many who remained, the intervening years have brought happier endings.
My brother and my sister and I are all benefiting from the fact that he kept land and added to it, and we get royalties from gas and oil, and that helps.
As a result of the Dust Bowl in the 1930s, the U.S. Department of Agriculture established a number of programs that help farmers reseed a lot of that land to the native grasses that grew here. Because the land was not lying open to the wind when the droughts came, we didn't have another Dust Bowl.